Hi there, this is Danny Flexen for Seconds Out with this week's episode of ReFLEXions. We come out, as you should know by now, every Monday 4:30 PM with the boxing action from the weekend. Looking back on that, it's going to be mainly Peterborough based, Matchroom based this week. I haven't had a chance to catch up with the Erislondi Lara Brian Castano fight yet. I hear it was a very close fight, quite exciting as well, so maybe you should check it out just as I should. And from what I've read, a draw seems a fair result, but I need to watch it for myself before getting in depth with that. But I did watch the whole Peterborough show on Saturday night, headlined of course by Jordan Gill, who moved at just 24 years of age to 27 fights unbeaten now with a third round stoppage of Mexican Emmanuel Dominguez. Now, Dominguez wasn't the best opponent as it turned out, tough and game, but kept dropping his hands, his footwork wasn't brilliant, long-armed, aggressive at first until Gill put him in his place. But a decent enough test for this stage of Gill's career, and he does want bigger and better tests. He seemed to indicate that before the fight and afterwards. But it was a good experience for Gill nonetheless. He won in the third round, dropped his guy twice. And just in front of his near hometown fans, as we've said before, Gill's from Chatteris in the Fens, which is right near Peterborough. So in front of his hometown fans, apparently he sold almost 1,000 tickets for the fight on his own, which is very impressive considering there wasn't much more than that there by the look of it. Maybe a couple of thousand. He looked brilliant. His footwork was great. He looked for the angles. His hands were fast. His upper body movement was excellent. And he showed real power that he hasn't shown in all his fights as a pro so far. Fought a lot of journeymen, of course, on the way up. He's only recently been backed by a big promoter. He wasn't always with Matchroom. So he had to scrabble around, give away weight, fight more experienced people. But now he's going up against people who come to win, no matter how well equipped they are to do so. He's finding the openings. He's got very sharp, accurate punches. He's only getting better under Dave Caldwell. He lamented the fact recently that Tony Bellew had retired, who was obviously the star of that gym. But it's probably a good thing for Jordan. He can become, along with side likes of Anthony Fowler and the McDonald brothers, more senior members of the gym. He can join those guys. And then, I'm not saying trainer Dave Caldwell didn't give him sufficient attention before, but he will grow in confidence by being one of the focal points now of that gym. He said immediately after the fight he'd quite like Kiko Martinez for the European title next. Martinez, of course, Spaniard, known quantity over here from back in the days when he fought Rendell Munro twice, but he's also fought Carl Frampton twice. Most recently, I think, came over to fight Josh Warrington. Lost those fights, of course, but still dangerous, as he's shown by winning the European title yet again. Former world champion. Style-wise should suit Gill down to the ground, come forward, aggressive, bit shorter perhaps than Gill. I'd have to check that on BoxRec, but Gill's I think 5'7", so I'm not sure. Maybe they're about the same height. Maybe Martinez even a bit taller. But fights compactly, fights out of a crouch. See, I'm backtracking here in case I made a mistake about the height. You can probably tell. But I've seen Martinez a lot. He's still good for, even in his advancing years, aggressive, packs power in both hands. But you would expect Gill to be able to step off, outlast him over the 12 rounds, either on points or maybe by a late stoppage. He'll be the more accurate, the more precise. But it's a good fight for him. I would like to see him fight the British champion. He's Commonwealth champion Jordan Gill, although he fought for a WBA interstrap at the weekend. He's got the Commonwealth belt, which he won against Ryan Doyle, I believe, or he may have given that up now, actually, because I think Lee Wood might have won that on the same show. I'll have to check that. Really should have done my BoxRec due diligence before doing this, but it's fine. We'll move on. British champion at featherweight at the moment is Ryan Walsh, who's from Cromer in Norfolk, again on the East Coast. Gill is from East Anglia, Fenland, Chatteris. Put it in the same venue as Saturday night. It's the East of England Arena in Peterborough. I think it'd sell the place out, which Saturday's show did not. But I think Ryan Walsh is a big ticket seller from a similar area of the country. I think they'd both combine. If Gill can sell 1,000 tickets for fight Dominguez, his first fight at home in a while, of course, I imagine he could sell, more than that to fight for the British title against Ryan Walsh. Similarly, Ryan Walsh could sell a huge amount of tickets, as he does usually, to fight Jordan Gill in a big, what's more or less a local derby in Peterborough. His fans normally have to travel down to London from Cromer. This time they only have to travel to Peterborough. It's a great fight, easily made. Really think it should happen. But the Gill team do seem focused on Martinez at the minute, and you can see why. It's an easier fight stylistically for them and for a more superior title in the European rather than the British. But it'd be a shame to see Gill, who's still only 24, bypass the Lonsdale belt and also bypass what would be an intriguing local domestic kind of tough fight to call against Ryan Walsh, who doesn't get fights easily. So I'd really like to see that. Big kind of intriguing fight on the undercard in Peterborough was cruiserweight clash between 6'5", quite raw, but also, you know, athletically gifted Richard Riakporhe, managed by Dillian Whyte, trained by Mark Tibbs. He got the stoppage win. I think it was the 4th or 5th round. I'll have to check that again. Getting tired of saying that, I'm sure you are. Against Tommy McCarthy, very good amateur, very talented. Maybe a bit too reticent in the fight. Did land some eye-catching combinations towards the ends of the rounds in the time the fight lasted, but never really imposed his skill or his game plan on Riakporhe, who was quite impressive actually. His jab's got a lot better. His mastery of distance has got better as well. The jab just kept going out monotonously round after round. I think it discouraged McCarthy to an extent, made it harder for him to get inside. Riakporhe's obviously got very long arms, very rangy. And eventually broke him down with the power that we already know he possesses. There'll be more wrinkles added to that, you know, athletic, the power and the speed, more technical and tactical adjustments. But I think Riakporhe, even at, I think he's like 29 now, even at 29, I think he can still improve, and he's in a heavier division, so making weight may not be quite as hard for him, although he is a huge cruiserweight, it must be said. Brings to mind Lawrence Okolie, the British champion. People were talking on the night about a potential fight down the road between Okolie and Riakporhe, partly because their physical dimensions are similar, partly because Okolie, of course, is the top British cruiserweight at the moment. But this led to Okolie sending a tweet, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, saying that he feels he could beat Riakporhe's manager, world-class heavyweight Dillian Whyte right now. Dillian Whyte answered back. They had a bit of back and forth on the social media platform, and that led to Okolie, who's in Morocco for whatever reason. He's fighting Wadi Camacho in 3 weeks. I'm not quite sure what he's doing in Morocco, but he seems to be sparring. Saw some pictures of him sparring Seb Eubank, who I know is based in Dubai. We're a big fan of Seb Eubank here at Seconds Out. He jumped in the sea for us. What more can we ask? But yeah, getting back to the point, Okolie posted some sparring footage of him and Whyte, only 20 seconds or so long, but Okolie seems to be getting the better of it. No real surprise there. Maybe we can look forward to seeing Dillian Whyte posting some footage of him getting the better of proceedings as well, but it seems to be building up to some sort of grudge. I don't know if it'll ever lead to an actual fight, either in the ring or outside. We hope in the ring. Obviously, we don't want to see them coming to blows on cobbles, as Kyle Froch might say, except he's not from Yorkshire, he's from Nottingham, but, you know, we'll let that one slide. But yeah, I think that was one of the most intriguing things from the weekend, aside from Jordan Gill's performance, was Okolie Whyte and where that could lead. So that leads us to what I always say at the end. We really like you to engage on these and on FLEXpectations as well. So give us your comments below. Let us know what you thought of Jordan Gill's performance and who he should fight next. Do you want to see him fight Ryan Walsh, Kiko Martinez, maybe someone else, and why? And give us your opinion on the Okolie Whyte or Whyte Okolie. I guess we have to call it beef, big inverted commas. Intense beef, raw beef, you get the idea. Where does it start? Are they just trying to drum up interest in a fight? Is there real needle there? And most importantly, if it did come to blows, in the ring, please, in the ring, who would win and why? Most people are just, you know, instinctively favouring Whyte because he's the bigger, more experienced guy, and they've seen Okolie kind of stink the place out against Matty Askin. But, you know, Okolie was an Olympian. He's a very technically skilled fighter, despite appearances to the contrary against Askin. He's obviously very confident as well against Whyte, and he's got big-time power, at least at cruiserweight. So I'm not trying to convince you to go for Okolie, but let us know what you think. Have a think about it. Whyte Okolie, who'd win that and why? We'll be back next week, Monday, 4:30 PM for ReFLEXions. FLEXpectations is back, 4:30 PM on Thursday, where we'll look ahead to this weekend's action. Obviously, big fight coming up this weekend. If you don't know, you better get to know, as they say. And I will see you on Thursday. Cheers.